she was Aozaki Yume? All thought evaporated from my mind. Apparently she's the most beautiful woman in school. I mean, oh, she's pretty. And she has green eyes, I guess. Otherwise, pretty stock standard anime girl. The world quickly lost its color and all the noise around me seemed to fade away. The only thing I could see was the girl in front of me. Okay, she just screamed, okay. A shock like a gunshot went through my chest. Her silken hair, her long eyelashes. Oh, I guess this counts as eyelashes. Her oval eyes like stars, her perfect nose is like a dot, like every anime person has. Every anime girl, at least a young, I mean, that's how it is in a lot of anime characters, if they're young, they just have a very tiny nose. Unless it's very, pronounced, I guess. Usually, well, I don't know. Usually when a character is older, they basically just draw the eyes a little bit smaller, usually. Her perfect nose, perfect dot of a nose. Her lips the color of pale cherry blossoms, you can barely see though. Because, again, anime. Her chest was the perfect size, yes. Not too large and not too small. And her lips were curvy, but not too curvy. Apparently, I guess this is just Taku's ideal woman, I assume. Her skin was smooth and it glowed like there was a light shining from within her. I mean, that's just, again... It seems like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of anime characters, they just have very oily skin. I don't know. Very glossy skin. And more than anything, her beautiful smile as she looked at me. Every part of her body seemed to have been blessed by the goddess of beauty herself. Moe cute?
Senpai?
Yes, she was an angel. She was a miracle come down from heaven. She was customized to be exactly what I wanted. That was no exaggeration. It was the only way I could think of it. I was looking at the very incarnation, everything I have ever wanted in a girl. How convenient. What a coincidence, What could I call this except a miracle? All the doubts in the back of my mind crumbled away like sand blown by the wind. All of the girls in the lower classes at Heikyo had told me they never heard of Aozaki Yume, but she was right here, right in front of me. What other fact could I possibly need?
どうしたんですか、先輩?
Oh, we can choose. Choose a negative one. Interesting. And before even before she's a guy, I mean, even better. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I mean, just positive again. I wonder what happens if she's negative. I think I can double check. Let me double check that. Yeah, let me check the non-spoiler guide. Let's see. Yeah, just choose positive. That's what it says. Just choose positive. I'm gonna choose positive first. I think I know. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I guess. I wonder what kind of ending we'll get. Actually, because I don't know. We just believe everything this delusion has to offer, and then what happens? We just die. Anyway. No, I didn't need anything else. Everything was right in front of me. Believe and you shall be saved.
待った。
Just as I took a step toward her, Nani? I heard loud footsteps coming up the outside stairs. The footsteps stopped and then I heard the door open. I turned and saw... Nani! Trigger on.
おのえ、お前なんでここに？もしかしてつけてきたのか？
つけてきたんじゃないもん。ついてきたんだもん。
Oh,
どっちだって同じだろ。なんでそんなことするんだよ。
だって気になるんだもん。
は？聞こえないよ。はっきり言えって。
だから気になるんだもん。
Circa stuck her lips out into a pout and sulked.
気になるってどうせ面白半分だろ。さすがにそういうのはどうかと。
違うもん。そうじ ゃないもん。
だったらどういうことだよ。
トクはさ、
Sarika never held back about saying what she was thinking, but now she looked really hesitant. It felt weird seeing her act like this.
トクはゆめちゃんになんて返事をするの？オッケーって言ってそのままラブラブになっちゃうの？
ラブラブって。
オッケーするんでしょ？しちゃうんだよね。
それは
やっぱりそうなんだ。オッケーしちゃうんだ。それで人前で堂々とイチャイチャしたり、放課後の学校でチューしちゃったりするんだ。
お前何言ってんだ。
そりゃ相手は学園一の美少女だし、断る理由なんてないよね。
あのな、別に僕がどう返事しようがお前には関係ないだろ。
It felt like she was throwing a tantrum and I reacted coldly. Normally she just complained more, but today something was different about Sarika. This is a weird delusion. This is supposed to be a positive delusion, yet I don't know what's happening.
おのえ。
関係なくないもん。
The lighting of the cafe reflected off of her wet eyes.
おのえ。
I had no idea. I had no idea that Sarika could look so sad.
関係なくなんかないもん。
おい。
私だって本当はずっとタクのこと見てたのに、タクの一番そばにいたのに、本当はず
I
っ
was
と
literally born from your mind.
タクのこと一番好きだったのに。
Okay, is that love triangle time or something?
それなのにこんなのいきなり出てきた女の子に取られちゃうなんて。
Literally popped out of like she literally popped into existence. Literally out of nowhere.
そんなのやだよ。
All I could do was stand there like an idiot as she sobbed. Sarika was in love with me. Again, she's born from her head. I don't know. It's weird because this is all like in reality. Well, supposedly reality. She's from our head. She's an imaginary friend became reality. But also this is like a delusion in itself. So I don't know if it's the real Sarika. I don't know. We're in too deep. She always had been. No, but she never shown any signs of that. I had no idea what to do. At no time in my short life had I ever dealt with anything like this.
とにかくちょっと落ち着こう。
That was all I could say. I always thought of Sarika as a friend, as someone I could always count on regardless of her sex. I'd never really seen her as a girl. She was something else completely, an alien. No, I thought that we could always be friends like that. But
もういいよ、タクのバカ。
she turned away and ran down the stairs, the tears reflecting in the light as they streamed down her face.
待てって、ちゃんと話を。
I tried to follow after her when... Oh, okay, that was weird. You would think that was to be a positive delusion. That wasn't very positive. I'm not feeling very positive about that. What? Was that a delusion? Then where was Sarika?
Huh?
すみません。
The footsteps coming up the stairs weren't Sarika. They belonged to a man I'd never seen before. Sarika, in love with me? What was I thinking? That was impossible.
あれ？
I suddenly gasped in surprise. He likes breaking her heart? I guess he's having that positive delusion because he wants to do that? I don't know. Weird. Ozaki had been right there in that chair a moment ago, but now she'd vanished. Yeah, she also, she vanished as well. The weird girl that never really existed. I looked all around the room, but she was nowhere to be seen. Has she gotten annoyed watching me just stand there and gone home? Maybe? No, that was impossible. There's only one entrance to the cafe. It was impossible for her to leave without me seeing it. I went to where she'd been sitting and took a closer look. But there was nothing on the table. There's no sign that anyone had even put a water glass on the table, and the chair was pushed in. There's nothing to hint that anybody had been sitting there at all.
なんだよこれ。一体どうなってるんだ。
I had seen a girl sitting here. I'd heard her voice. Was that all a hallucination? Another product of my delusions? I suddenly felt someone looking at me. Turn around and we see the D sword again. Probably. I looked around the cafe but didn't see anyone. I looked outside. Outside the window on the other side of the street where the sun was setting, I saw a tiny silhouette looking up at me.
Uki.
There's no doubt about it. And as she looked at me with silent, calm eyes, there was an elegant and razor-sharp blade in her hand. I ran out of the store. This time I was sure of it. Uki was watching me. What had Uki been doing here? If I could find out, I might be able to figure out what was going on. That certainly spurred me to action. I ran as fast as I could after her as she fled. She was just a little kid. At this distance, I'd be able to catch up to her. Or so I thought. But no matter how fast I ran, I didn't seem to get any closer. What was this weird sensation? It wasn't that my sense of distance was screwed up. It was like I was chasing something that wasn't there. I was moving my legs as fast as I could, but it was like in a nightmare where you're running from someone who's chasing you, but you don't seem to be moving at all. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes when I dream. But it's not really like I'm running from something, it's more like I'm running to something, which is, I guess, what Taku is doing right now. I'm just going somewhere, but like, I just never make progress. This time, my desperation pushed me beyond my limits. My lungs felt like they were on fire. My sides stung from lack of exercise. My legs were screaming that they're about to give up. But I forced myself to keep going. Hey! Uki turned around and saw me, and then I slipped through the turnstile to escape. Her turnstile? I followed her through. I'd been in such a hurry that I hadn't put my card up to the machine. But it had let me through anyway. Well, I guess, you know, again, the world is breaking. I had done the same for Uki too. She hadn't got out her card either. It's a glitch, you know? I ran up the stairs to the platforms. And I was just in time to see a train slide into the Harajuku platform and watch Uki get on.
Huh?
It disappeared. Uki had just gone on the green car from the Yamanote line and it was gone. It hadn't left the station. I would at least be able to see it then. The whole platform was quiet, as if the train had never existed in the first place. No, not only that. The whole station was strangely dark. I couldn't see a single person. A cold chill ran up my back. What was going on? I looked around again and again, but the place was as quiet as the surface of the moon. Complete silence. Complete emptiness. There are no customers and no employees either. The information boards were all black and showed nothing at all.
Huh?
That was impossible. Shibuya was supposed to be the 5th busiest station in Japan.
そうだ。Uki wa?
I forced my tired legs to move and looked around for Uki. But the only sound on the platform was my footsteps, and there's no sign of Uki or anyone else.
くそ、一体何なんだよ。何がどうなってんだよ。
It felt like someone had torn apart my skull and started fiddling with my hippocampus. I went down the platform and through the turnstile and everything was back to normal. I mean, it really is like a dream, you know? Everything just doesn't make sense. What's going on? And then I heard the sound of the train coming in above me as if it was mocking me. I ran back up the stairs, feeling the people around me staring at me in bewilderment. Oh, and then nothing. Weird. When I got up there, the platform was as empty as before. I had no idea what was going on anymore. The more I thought about it, the more confused I got. Well, if I had to guess, maybe it's because Uki, like, she doesn't know much about the outside world, and she is, like, this entire fake world itself, like, it's her own design, right? So maybe, like, when you go here, like, she doesn't know how trains work, I guess, so she can't really program it into the world, you know, quote-unquote, program. So, like, it just nothing happens, I guess. It's in early access, you see. You know, it's still in beta. The more I thought about it, the more confused I got. I staggered down the stairs, feeling defeated. Once I got back down, the world was normal again. I didn't feel surprised anymore. I just felt empty. I put my back to the wall and let myself slide to the ground. Maybe I'd gone crazy. I looked up and saw a commercial for the music artist playing on the big TV above Scramble Crossing. Yes, you know, you always see this. You always see her in the credits. Visual K, was it? Or what was it called? I already forgot the name. Anyway, it was playing a song by Phantasm that just got released a few days ago. Suddenly, there was a static on the screen. Huh? That voice. Oh, there she is. Oh yeah, I remember. I don't know why I thought Visual K. Visual K is something else. It's just like a genre. But no, the band, or at least the band for the song that always plays in the credits. The band is called Fez, I think. Fez? Fez. Saraka and Kurusu too? I always like hearing their voices from their TV.
Shibuya?
How did they know that, by the way? That's weird. I heard a noise and their voices vanished, only to be replaced by the Phantasm music video once more. Was that a hallucination? No. It was another message like the ones I heard before. That also makes sense that, because again, Uki doesn't know the world outside of Shibuya as well, so, you know, if Taku, for example, tries to leave Shibuya, probably he'll just go, you know, into nothing, you know, he'll just reach the skybox, you know. The lights in the intersection changed and the people started to move. Beyond them, standing in the gap between the crowds, I saw a girl. Still there. It was Yamazoi Uki holding her D-sword. Suddenly, it felt like a dam burst in my mind. Gigalomaniacs. Ah yes, Gigalomaniacs. Darn them! Darn them! Yamazoi Uki's power is a Gigalomania. That's right. This whole thing started when I had that nightmare about being stabbed by Uki's D-sword. Then this must be... I started to move. The light was about to turn red, but I ran across the intersection anyway. I forced my way to the other side of the street as the car horns blared at me. When I grabbed her by her tiny shoulders, Uki jerked and looked up at me in shock. The D-sword she'd been holding had vanished, but that didn't matter anymore. Time to interrogate this little kid.
いい加減本当のことを話してもらおうか。
Tell me the truth. Interrogate her, flash like a lamp in her face, like a police interrogation. Pretending to be scared wasn't gonna work either.
ウキ、お前さっきディスオードを持ってたよな。最近僕の周りで起こっているおかしな出来事、あれはお前のせいなのか？
Uki shook her head frantically to the left and right as if she was trying to wriggle out of my grasp.
ダメだ。本当のことを話すまでは逃がさないからな。
And then the cops show up and then arrest Taku for harassing the little kid. She looked around for help. I realized that the people around me were staring at me suspiciously. Stares, stares, stares. They form a circle, looking at me with cold, inconsiderate eyes.
おいそこ
Two black shadows forced their way through the crowd.
あんただあんたそこで何をしているんだ
What are you doing, little?
いや、
This was bad.
どうした
I say.
何かやましいことでもあるのか？
違います。彼女は知り合いで。
犯罪を犯す奴は大体そう言うんだ
犯罪？違う、僕は。
Time to go to jail.
話は署で聞かせてもらおう。さあ、こっちへ来なさい。
Strong arms grabbed me and held me tight. Uki slipped out of my grasp. She slid through the crowd and disappeared from my sight. If I got arrested here, not only would be my life would be over, I might lose a critical clue.
あんた学生か
これ、壁標の制服ですね。
ああなるほど道理であおい
I forced my way free and ran into the crowd. That was easy. JP cops.
待て！
Does anyone ever actually stop when they hear that? No. If I was gonna stop, I wouldn't have to run in the first place. I practically body slammed my way through the crowd, running as fast as I could while the police around, while the people around cursed at me. How much time had I spent running today? I felt like I'd been chasing a phantom of Uki forever. At some point, my legs started to move on their own. I couldn't see the police anymore, but I was still terrified they might appear at any second. The only place I could go to was Alba Dorm.
Takuru?
Kurusu's eyes went wide as she saw me run in, out of breath. Again, this really does remind me of what happens in a certain light novel that I read. A very similar thing happens, actually. And well, let's just say things don't turn out well for the story that I've read, but well, let's see what Taku does. My lungs were begging me for oxygen. My heart was about to burn out like an engine low on gas.
どう
Gas,
したの？
gas, gas.
そんなに慌てて何かあったの？
と、なのか。
I thought I'd be able to speak, but my throat had dried up too much for me to get the words out.
とにかく水でも飲んで落ち着きなさい。
Usually I asked for a mountain view instead, but now wasn't the time. I took a gulp of water from the glass Kurusu brought me, and finally calmed down.
それで何があったの？
あれは本当なのか？
落ち着いて話しなさい。それじゃあ一体何のことを言ってるのかわからないわ。
だから最近何度も僕にメッセージを送ってきてるだろ。あれは本当なのか？
Well, I don't think you're talking to the Kurusu that gave you those messages. This is a different Kurusu.
メッセージ？
そうだよ。 ここは渋谷じゃないって何度も。
I swallowed the rest of my sentence when I saw the look on her face. She was blinking me in confusion with her head tilted to one side. It was clear she had no idea what I was talking about.
タクル？
やっぱり。
Let's just say, hypothetically, that this wasn't the real Shibuya. If that was the case, that meant the girl in front of me wasn't the real Kurusu, which means I could just kill her and then it doesn't matter, right? Just start killing everyone. Wouldn't that be great? Just start breaking down reality and just kill everyone. Let's go on murder hobo mode. This meant I was probably wasting my time asking her anything. There's no point.
ウキは
She's fake, like everything else in this world. Might as well burn everything down. Kill everyone, ah. Yeah, that's what you do in like in the Elder Scrolls game, you know, like Fallout or Oblivion or Skyrim. You just start murdering everyone and then you can quick load later. I decided to do something else.
ウキちゃんがどうかしたの？
ウキは部屋にいるのか。
いえ、まだ帰ってないけど。でもそうね、もう少ししたら戻るんじゃないかしら。
Uki wouldn't know that I was here, and there's no other place for her to go as far as I knew. So all I had to do was wait.
ねえ、どうしたのタクル？何があったの？
You see, Kurisu, you're not real. None of this is real. You're fake.
いや、別
You're
に。
not real. Ah.
別にって、とてもそんな風には思えないわ。ウキちゃんと何かあったの？
Kurisu was acting like she was really worried.
大丈夫だって。クルスが心配するようなことは何もない。ただ、ちょっと聞きたいことがあっただけだよ。
本当にそれだけ？
本当だって。だからここで待たせてもらっていいか。
変なことじゃないわよね。ウキちゃんに聞きたいことって、あの子もいろいろ苦労してるんだから優しくしてあげなきゃダメよ。
分かってるって。
だったらいいけど。
Kurisu headed for the kitchen. She still looked worried. She was probably getting ready for dinner. For my part, I just decided to sit there and wait like I said I would. Come to think of it, Naozaki Yume, what happened to her? I thought I saw her at Cafe Lax, but then she quickly disappeared. Or maybe she'd just been another hallucination. I took up my phone and looked at the call history. I tapped the screen to call her number. If she answered, there was a lot I wanted to ask her. If she didn't... As I listened to the phone ring, a strange sort of urgency started to well up within me. There's no sign of her picking up. I rang 20 or 30 times without even going to an answering machine. I was getting nowhere, so I decided to end the call and try again. I didn't know what her plan was, but I would make this a battle of wills. I keep calling again and again until she picked up. I call again and again and again. Just annoy her with a bunch of calls forever until the end of time. How many times had I called her? There's more times than I could count on both hands, I knew that much, but not once had she answered the phone. Maybe the monotonous sound of the ring was getting to me because I was starting to get sleepy. It had been a stressful day, both physically and mentally. My mind, body, and spirit were all worn out, and the exhaustion was building up. My eyelids started to feel heavy. It became harder and harder to stay awake. Oh, that's also a dream I have sometimes, you know? That I don't know if anyone else has it, but like, sometimes I have this dream where like I just can't stay awake, you know? Ironically, even though I'm asleep in my dream, and yet I can't open my eyelids for some reason. Or at least, you know, it's hard to open my eyelids. No. Don't fall asleep.
Takuru?
Kurisu had come back from the kitchen at some point and was standing next to me.
クルス。
もうダメよ。そんなところで寝ちゃ風邪ひいちゃうじゃない。
違う。僕は。
はいはい。わかったから、こっちにいらっしゃい。お布団敷いてあげるから。
No.
ここで寝ちゃうより、少しの時間でもちゃんと布団で寝た方が疲れも取れるから。ね。
Kurusu grabbed me by the hand and stood me up.
もう、しょうがないんだから。
I didn't get the sense from Kurusu's voice that she was giving me an order. Her voice was filled with kindness and compassion. I was too tired, and her voice was too soft for me to resist. I let her take me to where she wanted me to go. I was so sleepy I wasn't even sure what I was feeling.
はい。こっちよ。
And then she kicked me into a hole, and then I died. Oh, okay. Kurusu brought me to what looked like a girl's room. Oh. Everything was color pink and made for the tastes of a little girl. She put me here. I thought she would put me. Well, she would put Taku in his own room, but instead put him in the Uki's room for some reason. This was. Oh, that's right. This was Uki's room. The shelf Lara was on the side shelf in his little pot. This was definitely Uki's room. But why here?
お布団、今朝干したばかりだから、ふかふかのはずよ。
But still, it wasn't right to sleep in a girl's room when she wasn't there. Wait, that wasn't the real question. Then what was the real question? I didn't know. I didn't have the mental capacity left to think about it. Perhaps it was Hypnos, the god of sleep, tempting me. Well, I assume Hypnos is the god of sleep. It just says right there. I think it's a Greek god? Anyway. Well, it didn't matter. I just wanted to sleep. The desire to sleep was controlling my body and mind. Trying to sleep. You know, trying to sleep in the middle of your sleep, you know? Again, I had that dream a lot. Well, not a lot, but occasionally, I guess. Not so much recently. I don't know. Anyway, as I fell to Uki's bed, I was surrounded by the gentle, mild scent of a young girl. It was a clean, sweet scent like freshly washed sheets. The scent made me even more tired, and my eyelids slowly began to... And then we dream within a dream. My phone was making a noise in my pocket. Who could be calling at this hour? I'm sleepy. Call me some other time. Wait. But the phone didn't stop ringing, no matter how long I waited. They just wouldn't stop, and even though my mind was still hazy, I felt like I had no choice but to pick up the phone. The name on the display was... Dare, who's that? That's right. So she see my call and finally decided to call back? That's right, I had to find out who she was. I tried to move my fingers to tap the call icon, but my body felt far heavier than it should. I just needed to move my fingers a little. It was like my body belonged to someone else. Also, another thing that reminds me of is sleep paralysis, you know? Where you wake up, but then you can't move your body because your body is still in sleep mode. Had that happen at least twice, I think. As far as I remember, anyway. Or she might just hang up. It was like my body was paralyzed and it wouldn't move. It was like I was in a dream. A dream? And then who was dreaming? No, that didn't matter. I needed to pick up the phone. If I didn't hurry, she'd hang up. Hurry, hurry! I put all my strength into my fingertip and finally was able to answer the call. Moshi, moshi. My voice was so exhausted it was hard to believe that those were my own words. Even as I talked, it felt like I was going to be dragged into the forest of sleep. I was too out of it to even tell whose voice it was on the phone. I assume it's Serika? Not like Serika. Taku! I mean, Serika is the only person that calls Taku Taku, you know?
僕を呼ぶのは誰だ？
聞いて、タクル。このままだとあなたはずっと眠ったままになってしまうわ。そうなる前に早く。
クルス。
お願いだから目を覚ましてよ、タク。
なんでこいつらが。電話は青崎夢からじゃなかったっけ？
ダメだ。意識レベルがどんどん下がっている。このままだと宮代は死ぬぞ。
Yeah, it's Kunasato. Out of nowhere.
もっと呼びかけ続けろ。もっとだ。今以上に。
Who's that? Is it? Well, I can't tell. Is it either Shinjo? Is it Shinjo or Sakuma? I don't know why Sakuma would care though. At least, again, maybe he's pretending to care. I assume it's Shinjo though. Oh, kind of. I don't recognize it because I never heard Shinjo like yell, you know, angrily before. I couldn't even tell who was saying what anymore. I was falling into the abyss of sleep.
聞きなさい、タクル。あなたがいるのは現実じゃないの。現実のあなたはね、大怪我をして病院のベッドの上にいるのよ。
Okay, so we're in a coma again. Second time we're in a coma. Taku.
お願いだよ、タク。思い出して。このままだと戻ってこれなくなっちゃうよ。タクル。タク。お願いだから戻ってきて。
I could hear desperate cries from very close and from far away. It was amazing how little it seemed to matter. The gentle light enveloped me, and I fell asleep. Forever. Yay. Where am I? Huh? I was supposed to be in Uki's room. Was this real? Or a dream within a dream within a dream? A dream? Whose dream? Mine? I screamed as something suddenly came into view. Oh, okay, back here. Hey, it's Yui again. Tiny little boxes in the shape of a person. Dark red liquid flowing out of them. An overwhelming metallic stench. Inside the boxes was... Inside was...
どうだ。自分の大切なものを失う自分は、自分の無力さを思い知りながら後悔に苛まれる自分は。
That's right.
彼女は俺にとってかけがえのない存在だった。それをお前は見殺しにしたんだ。
Was I assuming this is the same dialogue?
これでようやく復讐を。
We'll do this again. Time loop.
お前、次は宮代なんだ。よく切れるミスと麻酔薬ができたか。
I've been so angry about Yui's death.
それがなきゃひどく言いたくて苦しむぞ。
And hurt. And hurt real bad.
唯一
Yeah, slice you up in little pieces. No, the one time he did kill me, well, the one time that Shinji did kill Taku, he just backstabbed him, you know, he didn't like cut him up or anything.
なんだ。泣いて命乞いでもするか。助けてくださいって土下座するか。お前、本当に。
Oh, okay, again. I guess when I heard the voice behind me. Hello.
よかった、見つかった。ひゆちゃんは。
Smile. And then Uki saw the boxes near my feet and froze. Shocked, she looked at them and then at me, as if she was trying to say something, and then she saw Ito.
ひゆちゃんは。
Yes? What about you-chan?
今いいところなんだよ。可愛い妹の死で絶望の淵にいる宮代は絶望のままあの世へ送ってやると思うんだ。外野は黙って見てる。
Ito turned toward me. Uki looked at the boxes again, and she finally seemed to understand the meaning of Ito's words, and then she took a half step back. And screamed. And glared at him in fury. Fury. The D-sword appeared in her little hand. Uki staggered forward, flailing the sword wildly. Ito had no idea how to handle this sudden attacker. I got between them, and then... Owie, again, okay. This is exactly what happened before, alright? Nothing's changed. An impact. Pain. Heat. That's right, she stabbed me with her D-sword. I remembered. That was what happened.
あれが現実。それじゃ今、僕がいるここは、僕の妄想の中。
I could hear voices.
お願いだから目を覚まして。戻ってきて、タクル。
I could hear Sarika and Kurusu on the phone. Huh? What's going on? Was that a dream? Was I... Oh, that's right. This was Uki's room. I fell asleep in Uki's room. I was on the phone. I called Aozaki Yume. And then they called me. That's right. Sarika's voice was calling me. Suddenly, something flew by me and knocked the phone out of my hands. I fell on the floor, its body split open by something sharp. Hey, it's my phone. You broke my phone. I gotta buy a new one, in this weird, delusionary world. My mind was so hazy as I forced myself to look up at the person holding the shining blade above me. Standing next to the bed, her face filled with desperation, was... Hello?
ダメです。それ以上は気づいちゃいけないです。この世界こそがあなたのタクルさんの現実なんです。
Her voice was as sad and desperate as the expression on her face.
どういうことだ?
Uki closed her eyes just for a moment.
優しい家族、温かい友達、楽しいこと、嬉しいこと、幸せなことだけがずっと繰り返しどこまでも続いている。これが現実の渋谷。これがタクルさんにとっての現実。それでいいじゃないですか。
違う。
I struggled to get up, but my body wouldn't move.
何が違うんですか？
それは
What was wrong with it? If the dream I had was right, I wouldn't like what was waiting for me when I woke up. Compared to that, this was paradise. Just like Uki said, here there'd be nothing but fun things, pleasant things, and happy things in my life. But it'll be like a cheesy rom-com anime. Oh no, would that really mean I was alive?
やっぱり
I finally managed to get the strength in my arms and stomach to sit up.
やっぱりここ現実なんかじゃない。
I was trying to tell myself that, No matter how much I didn't want to admit it. No matter how much I didn't want to accept it. No matter how much I wanted to ignore it. If that was the truth, even if I'd almost died after being stabbed by Uki's D-sword, as long as I was alive.
やめて。お願いですからやめてください。もうそれ以上辛い思いを味わわなくてもいいじゃないですか。
ウキ、
どうしてなんですか。あなたさえ望めばここはどんな幸せな世界にもなるんです。それなのにどうしてそんな風にせっかくの幸せを壊そうとするんですか。
You don't understand, little girl. I hate
そんな
happiness.
こと言ったって
I need
俺らは
suffering.
夢でしかない。いずれは覚めなきゃいけない。
覚めない方がいい夢だってあります。
Uki looked like she was about to cry.
私はあなたに命に関わるような大きな怪我を負わせてしまいました。もしかしたら二度と今までのような生活はできないかもしれない。たとえ今現実に戻ったとしても、その先あなたを待っているのは辛くて苦しくて嫌なことだらけの人生ですよ。そんなの生きてるって言えるんですか。生きてる意味があるんですか。
You see, Uki, there is no point. But anyway, the words she said grew in mass and density, creating ripples in my heart. They weighed down heavily upon me, and my mind creaked under the strain. Her nihilism is too strong. At the same time, the heat and pain from when Uki had stabbed me came rushing back. The feeling of coughing up blood. The feeling of my life flowing out of me. Despair, Zetsubo, shrouding my heart.
そんなの無理ですよ。私には耐えられないです。だから私はこうして新しい世界を作ったんです。タクルさんの望む幸せな世界を作ったんです。このままこの世界にいた方がタクルさんは絶対に幸せでいられるんです。私だってその方が。
Slowly, like a slow-acting poison, all my negative emotions came welling forth to hold me back. It was fine to put on a brave face and say that I had to wake up from my dream. But if Uki was right, even if it did go back to the old world, my body would be half dead already. And Yui, my little sister, she'd been killed by the man I thought I was my best friend, and now she was gone. Was there anything left for me in the real world? There's always Cool Cat Press, Cool Cat Press magazine. There's nothing but cruelty and coldness, you know? If you're stuck in this world, you'll never get new issues of Cool Cat Press. What's the point of living then, man? You know? Well, that's the biggest thing. Actually, I thought about this before. Like, what if you could like live in an illusion where you're like, you know, in this world where you get everything you ever wanted, but the problem is that you'll never get anything new, you know? You'll be stuck in this old world where, like, if you know about it, you'll just know everything that happens anyway. You'll never get new stuff, you know? Wouldn't that suck? Alright. But in this world, I wasn't hurt at all. Yui was here too. They're all fake, though. There was the girl who loved me, but but she's also not real. And she's barely, you know, tangible. Was there really any reason I had to go back? Uki's voice was shaking. Tears were running down her pale white cheeks.
私のせいなんです。何もかも私のせい。
ウキ。
私は。
Uki started to speak, her head downcast. She told me about herself.
私はまだ小さかった頃、お父さんやお母さんに連れられて不思議な場所に通っていました。
Give me your tragic backstory. You know, every visual novel round is all about this. Learning the tragic backstory of a character.
そこではたくさんの人たちがお祈りをしたり、瞑想をしたりしていました。
Cult? Is this a cult? I imagine it was some kind of religious facility. Evidently, her parents have been involved in some kind of cult.
お父さんとお母さんはとても厳しい人で、私がどうしてそこに行かなければいけないのか教えてはくれませんでしたし、私もそれをおかしなことだって思ったりはしませんでした。ある日、私はあの地下へと連れて行かれました。そしてその後すぐに大きな地震があって、お父さんとお母さんは死んだって言われました。両親の他には親戚は誰もいなくて、行くところのなくなってしまった私はあの地下の部屋で皆さんの面倒を見るようになりました。それも私にとっては当然の成り行きで、どうしてこんなことをしなければいけないのかなんて疑問に思うことはありませんでした。
I remember when I took her out of that basement. She'd been there since she was very little and had been everything she had.
いろいろとお世話をしていると、皆さんはありがとうって言ってくれました。その言葉を聞くととても嬉しくて、すごく優しい気持ちになれました。はあ、この人たちは私を必要と思ってくれてるんだ。私のことを頼ってくれてるんだ。そう思うととても温かい気持ちになれました。
For young Uki, being needed was the only way she felt she had any value in the world. You could see that from how hard she worked at Alba Dorm. The desire to be needed was the only thing that kept her going.
私は私の周りにいる人が幸せになってくれることが嬉しいんです。私が幸せになることよりも誰かが幸せになる、その方が私にとってはとても嬉しいことなんです。
This is how... This just reminds me of abusive relationships. This is how you end up in a bad relationship, you know? Anyway.
誰かに幸せになってほしい。誰かを幸せにしたい。ありがとうって笑ってもらいたい。私はきっとそのために生まれたんです。それなのに。
Her round eyes filled with tears again.
なのに、私はタクルさんにあんなことを。私のせいでタクルさんは私はタクルさんを不幸にしてしまったんです。私にはもう現実の世界でタクルさんを幸せにすることはできません。
And therefore you'll keep me stuck in this world forever. Uki truly is the yandere. She is the yandere.
でもこの世界なら
Just like keep
私はタクル
Taku
さん
in
のことを
prison
幸せにすることができます。
in this box
タクルさんに笑ってもらったり、ありがとうって言ってもらえることができるんです。
forever, you know?
だからお願いします。どうかこの世界でタクルさんが幸せになるお手伝いをさせてください。
僕を幸せに。ウキが。
Why, I wonder? The meaning of Uki's words slowly sank in. Here I could be happy. Here I could smile.
タクルさん、
So maybe it'll be okay to stay here. Uh-oh. As soon as I started to think so, I began to feel incredibly tired again. Everything started to get hazy. I'm sure this was for the best. Nobody wants to suffer. And there's no difference between reality and delusion anyway. It's all just what your brain is showing you, which is pretty fucked up when you think about it, you know. That is true. Everything you see really is just interpreted by your brain. So what if in the future we can like manipulate that? Eventually we'll just be like weird, you know, just like organic beings living in a tube, showing this reality in our brains forever. So it'd be better to be happy. Yes.
タクルさん、
If I just let myself sleep,
私が守りますから。あなたの幸せをずっと守っていきますから。
and when I wake up, I'll be happy. Isn't that great? Everything started to fade away. A tiny hand rubbed my back. It was Uki's hand, gentle and warm. It would keep me safe. So that.
そうか。
Maybe she was right. If Uki would make me happy, that was fine with me. I slowly sank into the abyss of unconsciousness. Another Uki? Nani? There's 2 Ukis. Suddenly I heard a voice that pulled me back from the abyss. A roar filled the air and a single ray of light flashed. It felt like the void itself was being sliced apart. She wants you to have a happy dream, so she's a succubus. Well, is that how it works? I remember actually I read about how Merlin from Fate Go, or technically Fate Stay Night. I guess he was a character Fate Stay Night. Like he's an incubus, but like in the sense that he eats like dreams. I guess not so much. Well, anyway, it felt like the void itself was being sliced apart. I struggled to open my eyes and force my vision into focus. I saw 2 people there. One was Uki, who was on top of me, FBI open up. And the other... another one.